I'm under guardianship and I need it to end. Hi, I'm Darren Findling of the Probate Pro. And often we get phone calls and people come into our office seeking to end or terminate their guardianship. There's a particular process to navigate through to end your guardianship. For many people, guardianship is a loss of autonomy, very frustrating experience. And because they have now regained or restored their functioning such that they no longer need a guardian, often they are demanding or expecting that the guardianship come to an end on its own. And it just doesn't occur that way. You have to take proactive steps to end the guardianship, to end the court's jurisdiction of the guardianship proceeding. So remember, the guardianship itself is a legal proceeding that began when somebody or an entity filed a petition for guardianship. It sought by clear and convincing evidence that the individual being sought guardianship over is unable to manage their own affairs. And the court adjudicated that. That guardianship will continue, and year to year it will be evaluated through a report, and somebody's supposed to indicate if there is no longer a need for guardianship. But if that's not the case, and you, the person under guardianship, would like to ask the court to end the guardianship, or if you're a person interested in the well-being or welfare of that individual, you can file a petition to terminate the guardianship in the probate court. In fact, the statute provides that it can be done either by letter or petition. I recommend that you use the petition to ensure that it gets processed appropriately. And the petition is a form. It is a form called a petition to terminate guardianship. With that petition, I urge you to obtain some doctor's note, some letter from a provider that indicates that the basis and need for guardianship no longer exists. It's not a requirement to do so. However, this is best practice because having that letter from a physician that has recently evaluated you is going to go a long way to show the court that the guardianship that has been in place is no longer needed. A petition for guardianship, a petition to terminate guardianship is filed with the probate court, and the court is to schedule a court hearing. The court may also appoint a guardian ad litem, a person to come out and visit that individual, or maybe even an attorney to represent the individual themselves. And there's a hearing, and the hearing is conducted very similar to the petition to appoint a guardian. But in this case, the person advancing the petition is asking the court to end it, to terminate the guardianship. And the court is supposed to go through the same process of evaluating the need for guardianship, but in this case, about ending the guardianship. So again, having physicians and others to be able to testify to the fact that guardianship is no longer needed, you've restored yourself to the point that there is no longer a need for guardianship, is going to help significantly in showing the court that that guardianship is no longer needed. If the court agrees with that, agrees that the guardianship is no longer needed, it will terminate the guardianship. And an order will get entered, and then your rights are restored. The court can also modify the guardianship, meaning limit the powers of the guardian, or modify who the guardian is on that same petition. But the process is by filing a petition. The process should, I recommend, include something from a physician indicating that there's no longer a need. It can be filed by the person who's the guardian. It can be filed by the person under guardianship, and it can be filed by anybody interested in the welfare of that individual. So that's the process to end a guardianship. If you've got questions about probate, visit us at theprobatepro.com or call us at 833-PROBATE.